Hello, this is Kate from dailytarotgirl.com, and this is your weekly tarot card reading. And I am using the Light Seer's Tarot for this week's reading. And I promised I think it was in the last video, I had a couple people inquire about my kitties and how they're doing. So I thought I'd give you a little update. So my two cats are upstairs sleeping. But my foster kitty, Diesela, who I've had for, I want to say, over 2 months now. It might even be close to 2.5 months. I still have her. I'm in her room right now. So I'll show you Diesela. Here she is. She's doing her favorite thing right now. She's watching birds. There's a bush just outside her window, and it's very, very active with birds and stuff. So she likes to watch the birds. So she's doing really good. She's proving to be a really tough nut to crack, though. So I let her out of her foster room into my rec room, and she won't let me touch her in the rec room. So progress is slow with Diesela, but she lets me pick her up and touch her and cuddle her in her foster room. Okay, so let's start with the first card. The first card is for Monday and Tuesday of the upcoming week. And my intention with this reading is just to get some ideas, some inspiration about the week ahead from these three cards. So the card for Monday and Tuesday is the Queen of Swords. And I actually really love the Queen of Swords. I can kind of relate to the Queen of Swords on many levels. So let me tell you a little bit about her personality. So the Queen of Swords sometimes comes across as being maybe kind of cold and distant, kind of intellectual, but she's very good at communicating, and she knows how to speak her truth and stand up for herself when it's time, when it's important to. So there's a certain kind of not aggressive. What's the other word? Not aggressive, not passive, but the one in the middle, assertive. That's what it is. She's very good at being assertive. She's very clear and to the point. She's kind of critical. She can look at a situation and see what needs to be done, what's important, what's not important, what you should focus on. Like, she's very good at prioritizing things. But sometimes she forgets to consider people's feelings. So sometimes people get their feelings hurt by the Queen of Swords, or they take her kind of brusqueness personally. So what does she mean for us? Why has she shown up in the reading for this week? What does she say about the beginning of the week? So the beginning of the week is a time to clear your head, to get some perspective and prioritize. Figure out what needs focus, what can wait, what kinds of things are distracting you that you need to kind of eliminate or push to the side, and what is really important this week. So that's what I'm getting from the Queen of Swords. And she is also saying, communication is going to be important to you this week, particularly at the beginning of the week. So you want to brush up on your communication skills, but be aware of communicating in a way that is maybe a little bit too clear and too direct, that may come across as harsh. So keep that in mind, so that when you're speaking to people this week and connecting with people, that you're not too much like the Queen of Swords. You want her clarity of communication without kind of the chilliness that she can sometimes have. Okay. Oh, another thing I get with this card is you may encounter someone like the Queen of Swords this week, and don't take their seemingly kind of coldness and distance personally. Let's look at the middle of the week, Wednesday and Thursday-ish. Okay, so here we have the Page of Cups. So another court card. And the Page of Cups couldn't be more different than the Queen of Swords. So the Page is the youngest of the court card group, we've got pages, knights, queens, and kings. And the page is like a student. It's like, I think of the page as like a teenager or like a really young person. And it represents kind of being a student and learning and kind of exploring and getting your footing. And the Suit of Cups is about our emotions and our feelings and our relationships, how we relate to others. And I often think of the Page of Cups as being a very creative character. This is someone who gets inspired easily and is kind of fearless in experimenting with different forms of art and expression. So here's someone who isn't afraid to write poetry one day and then pick up a paintbrush the next day and then maybe try some crazy interpretive dance or something like that the next day. This is someone who is really an explorer and loves to have new and different experiences. So what does it mean for us? And what does it mean for you in the middle of the week? What advice is this card giving us? The Page of Cups is telling you to be open this week to opportunities that come up and to be open to inspiration. So I think of this card as being like a yes card, saying yes to things as they come up. It doesn't mean you have to say yes to everything, but having that sort of open attitude of, I feel like the Queen of Swords would say no to a lot of things. She's like a gatekeeper. She knows how to say no. And that saves her from taking on too much and signing up for things that she doesn't truly want to do. But the Page of Cups is very different in that he's more willing to say yes to things, not out of guilt or feeling like he should say yes, but because he's genuinely curious where this next adventure is going to take him. So the beginning of the week, we have this sort of like, the clarity and the, what's the word? Clarity and discernment of the Queen of Swords. And I think if you can tap into that, it's going to help you enter the week in a really organized, clear way. But then once you're into the week, be open to things. Don't be closed down. Be open to new experiences, new ideas, inspiration, all that good stuff. Let's have a look at the end of the week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All right, so here we have the Five of Cups. All right, Five of Cups. This is a tricky card. So what's going on is there's this big hole in the ground. It's like an abyss. And this one cup is kind of spilling down into that hole. And what's interesting is it looks like there's like a moon or some kind of glowing sphere kind of emerging from that hole in the ground. And the woman on this card is kind of gazing into it. Now, the Five of Cups is about what can happen when we sort of dwell on the negative and dwell on what's not working. And if you notice, like just behind her, she has a cup, a big bowl full of bright lights and good things. But she has her back turned on that bowl and she's just kind of focused on the bowl that's spilling into this void. So at the end of the week, this weekend, you want to be aware of anything that is kind of draining or sucking your energy, particularly as it applies to your hopes and dreams and just your spark and your energy for life. Noticing what those things are that seem to be draining that, if that indeed is the case, if you're feeling less than inspired. And often when the Five of Cups comes up, it's a reminder to shift your focus onto the things that are working, the things that you do have, the things that are working out, the qualities, the talents, the skills that you do possess, instead of focusing on the things that you don't possess or the things that aren't working out. And what I'm getting from this card is that this isn't about denying what is true. So you still want to acknowledge if there's something that isn't going well. You want to acknowledge that it's not going well. But you don't want to dwell on it so much that you turn your back on all the good things. You want to refocus your focus. You want to recalibrate your focus a little bit. So you are focused on the assets that you have, the skills that you have, the opportunities that you have. You want to focus on that, because by focusing on that, you will find the solutions to the things that you're struggling with, or the kinds of things that you're having issues with. Trying to think of another way to put that. I think it's interesting that there's a path kind of winding off into the distance there. And I think that shows that there is, if there's anything that you're struggling with, and even just on an emotional level, if you're just feeling kind of hopeless right now, or just, missing that sort of spark, that there is a path out of this. There is a way out of this, but it's like you're almost entranced by negativity right at this point. And so it takes a little bit of effort to kind of pull your focus out of that and refocus on the brightness and the beauty. Okay, let's look at all 3 cards. Oh goodness, I've been talking for 11 and a half minutes. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly look at all these cards and see. I'm noticing wings in the first 2 cards. So there's the bird flying, and then there's the pig with wings, which is interesting. I always think that this little red thing here is a heart behind these bars. I don't know, it might be something else, but I think of it as a heart. And then we have the hands in the shape of a heart here, which I think is interesting. So kind of some interesting connections with the first 2 cards. Yeah, that's all I can think of for now. But an interesting spread, an interesting 3 cards. So it'll be interesting to see how the week plays out. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this reading helpful. And as always, I invite you to share your own ideas and your own interpretations on these 3 cards in the comment section below. So feel free to subscribe and like my video. I post these readings every week on Fridays. And you might also want to check out my website, dailytarotgirl.com. I'll put the link to my site in the description box below the video. My website has tons of really fun tarot learning resources for you to check out. There's tarot spreads, there's tarot exercises, deck reviews, all kinds of fun stuff. So thanks again for watching. Have a great week.